Right.
It's now 6:30 plus a minute or two. I'd like to call this City Council work session to order. Could I have of January the 8th, 2026, could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Posner.
Here.
Councilman Nestor.
Present.
Councilperson Thomas. Councilman Orchakowski.
Here.
Mayor Mosher.
Present.
Mayor, we note 4 members present and a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Kuster to come and lead us in prayer.
Amen. Would you work with me here for a short time, but a very important moment? We're going to pray. I want to just invite the Lord. Lord, we're grateful for your presence here in this city and in this room tonight. And we want to thank you for all the good things that have happened in this last year. Many good things. Some we can measure and understand, others just beyond our cognition at this point. But you're good, and you brought good things about. I pray for a better year even yet ahead. We're standing here, first session of the new year. I pray you would just continue your blessing and, in fact, multiply it. We want to pray for the things that are pleasing to you. And so tonight I pray for unity, because when you're happy, things go well. And I thank you, Lord. So tonight I'm asking for, like never before in this city, the hearts of people to be turned to one another, for unity to be poured out upon men, women, children, like never before. Let this just be the best year ever. I pray for blessings that are discernible, like I pray for our police and our fire people and the medical personnel, that this would be the best and easiest year for them that's ever been. Fewer calls, fewer emergencies. Let your blessing be seen. And so tonight I want to thank you for these leaders here in front of us. I pray for wisdom for them in this work session. These things, your blessing in this year, we ask, because of your amazing, unconditional love for every person in this city. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to invite public comments directed to myself on agenda items only.
Ernest Telegraphus, 29 Rex. On the agenda, on page 1, the discussion of LERTA tax applications. I hope you people will clarify tonight what exactly will be the procedure, and if the school board doesn't come on board with you, with the city, what are you going to do then? It gets dissolved completely, or what? And then number 2, on page 2, the discussion of proper uniform policy or protocols, board of commissioners within the city. Now, what I want to know is, which people are we talking about? Unions, non-unions, and also, is there any teeth to these protocols? Like if they don't follow or abide by them, anything happens to them, or is it just a mouthpiece to sound good? So those are the details I would like.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or they'd like to make? Hearing none, one of the things that occurred earlier this week was a presentation was made to myself and Karen by the Mon Valley Sewage Authority, and I invited them to come back tonight to explain this to all the public through a council work session. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to them and see if they could make a good presentation to us.
Mr. Mayor, do you know if everyone has copies of what we had emailed out, or I'd be happy to?
I emailed them earlier, but if you got copies, it'd probably be good to.
Sure.
Thank you. That one's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, City Council, for having us in front of you. What we're coming to discuss tonight is an ongoing project that both the authority and the city have been working on together to address a sanitary sewer overflow. At least originally, that was the reason for the project that occurred that was occurring in the city of Monessen. This dates back, might be 10 years at this point, that there was an issue originally identified in the Grand Boulevard area. City Council and the city has invested a tremendous amount of money to improve infrastructure in that area. But at the time, 10 years ago, the DEP required, at that time, an equalization tank to be installed to address too high of flows being originated from the Grand Boulevard area. So through some back and forth between the city and the authority, eventually the authority partnered with the city to design and construct and maintain that facility. Well, that tank was originally estimated at approximately $4 million when it was originally design started, and that was dating back 5 years ago, before COVID, before things went crazy with pricing and so forth. And by the time design was complete, that had increased, the estimate to construct that had increased to $8 or $9 million. So an alternative had to be identified, and actually it was the city that came up with the great idea to do sewer separation in the particular, what we refer to now as the Marion Hilltop Area Sewer Separation Project. So in what I handed out to you, the third page is a map of the area where this sewer separation project would occur. So the city asked us to, the authority and me on their behalf, Wade Trim on their behalf, to look at two options to decrease flows coming from that area. One was constructing new sanitary sewers, and one was constructing new storm sewers. At the end of the day, the cost to do those two alternatives have come out very comparable, but generally speaking, the authority is in the business of constructing sanitary sewers. So it is our recommendation and the authority's, I'll say, decision that they want to move forward with constructing new sanitary sewers in this particular neighborhood. That project is estimated at this point to be $3.8 million, which was in line with what the equalization tank was supposed to cost. The authority already had borrowed monies to construct that facility, approximately $4 million they borrowed, and they actually had secured an additional $750,000 grant from the COVID PA monies for funding. So there's approximately $4.75 million available to do this project, which at the moment is estimated to be $3.8 million. So that alleviated the need for any additional funds needing borrowed for the project, and at this point, Wade Trim on the authority's behalf has started design. We have survey just about complete. We've done some preliminary investigation, and then we need to design this very quickly, because that $750,000 grant has to be spent by September of 2026. So this project most likely will start construction by the middle of 2026, and again, it will construct new sanitary sewers in the neighborhood where that map shows you, with the intent of decreasing the amount of flows that ultimately come to the authority's wastewater treatment plant. So with that, I know that was a lot, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
What took so long?
For the project?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of back and forth with changes that occurred in leadership, both at the authority and the city. There's some agreements made between the two communities, two entities. Then things kind of changed, and then they went back. An agreement is in place, and I don't know, Mr. Byland, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I just want to add, the problem simply became, we had to do a complete title search of all properties involved.
That's more recent, yeah.
Yes, so what became a factor was, there was a parcel, and I spoke with Mr. Delfonso several occasions regarding this. There was a parcel unknown. It does not assign the tax map parcel ID number. They cannot identify at the assessment office who would have owned it at any point in time. It's as if it was a ghost property. That being the case, we would have had several options to go through, which would have been also time-consuming and lengthy in order to correct that situation.
But you guys talked about this was back right before COVID, that
The,
COVID
the,
interrupted.
I'm sorry, the issue with the property, the ghost property, I'll call that, that issue was just surfaced within the past 10 months,
Right.
I would suspect.
But this goes back to Mayor Mavrakis' term with doing all this, and I know for a fact, because of the old city building, I was at that meeting where the tank was gonna cost, at that time it was an EQ tank, it was gonna cost $800,000. Okay?
Yes.
And that $800,000, it was going back and forth between the city engineers and you guys on how they were gonna go through this, and then it was decided at that meeting that the sewage authority was gonna take all responsibilities, maintenance, construction, security, everything.
Correct.
I remind you, this wasn't 10 years ago, this was 20 years ago when I was
Right,
council.
so
Well-
my question is,
Mhm.
what took 20 years? From
The,
going from $800,000 telling the public to $4 million now, and if we didn't come up with the idea of the separation, as of a couple of months ago, it was still $8 million.
Yeah, it was never 800,000. I'm not sure where that number might have come, but that
It was
number
less than $1 million back then.
It-
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've been doing this work for the authority for 25 years, and it was never $800,000.
yeah. And I know that we, the city and the authority, we entered into an intermunicipal agreement, and that was dated in 21, and then the subsequent borrowing that Mr. McBride spoke of took place pursuant to that agreement. And the factors he did not speak of, which lead us to the conclusion the sanitary project as designed and set forward and that we had discussed, is the best route, simply because if we did anything with respect to water, the problem now becomes, we'd have to amend our articles of incorporation, we'd have to amend our bylaws. We would have to then go under MS4. We have to design it and implement that. So that create a longer time frame, and I don't think it was stressed enough, but the $750,000 that we have acquired for this project lapses as of September of '26. So, with that being in mind, and it being the most cost-effective project, I would put it that way, and agreeable to the mayor and Mr. Delfonso, in concept, of course, and that's why I wanted to bring it towards the full board this evening, is simply that we don't have enough time, the same $750,000 that we have grant monies for this project.
So what happens, this is 3.8 million, which is great, fantastic, less than the $8 million originally, okay? You have that money sitting,
That's correct.
okay? Let's look for a second and say, as you go along in this project, change orders start coming in.
Perhaps.
What are you doing once it eclipses the 3.8 million, if it does eclipse it?
We have more than that,
The city has 4.7 million.
4.7 that we're holding as of now. And
And
we,
there's contingency funds built into it as well.
that's correct. And we contemplated that if there are extra funds, or for example, if the interest rates drop enough come the next 6 months, we're eligible for refinancing of those bonds. And what we contemplated, and again, is incorporated within the agreement that we have, is that any funds that would be generated from a refinancing or refunding would be placed onto those monies for reduction in debt service overall as well. And you might have
we have yet to calculate that. There might be a debt service reduction. So what we do would take out of your funds now, which is the line usage fee cost agreed to within in the agreement that we have. That has yet to be determined, but there could be a reduction overall perspective.
Oh, I understand that, and that would be fantastic if that happens.
I would hope so.
I'm asking you, what if the costs go over what you have saved and what the city's given you?
That we
Where are
have,
you coming up with the extra money?
that we have not contemplated at this moment.
Don't you think you should?
Tony, if you look at that, it's 3.8 million, but there is a cushion in there, I think it's 10%.
It's
20%.
20%.
20%, so that 20% is factored in for the, something happens.
Yeah, but my question is.
But on top of that, there's another $750,000.
One of the things that we need to really clarify too is that this project is not without demands. DEP had a corrective action plan established that we had to reduce this flow one way or the other. And through work that the solicitor, myself, and others did, we worked very closely with DEP to get them to even understand that there is an alternative to an EQ tank.
But-
And that took a long time. Let me finish here. So now we got a project now that has a corrective action plan that is being modified to include a separation project as opposed to AQ tank. That has timelines on it that are non-changeable from the original timelines. That this project cannot go on for years and years like what we did with the EQ tank. It's got to take place quickly and fast in order to meet the DEP requirements. And furthermore, I've made the commitment to the Mon Valley Sewage Authority that the city would work the best we could to ensure that we do meet these timelines. That there are lots of things that come into play that can snag projects, such as right-of-ways and easements. These are things that we have some easements in process for and so forth. Now, if you're concerned about this being dragged on for years and years,
No.
I think that we got bigger problems than that.
No, that's not my question. Everybody's missing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, sure, there's timelines, there's everything else to get it done. Those are gonna happen, okay? I'm talking about, and the perfect example is the sewage project, okay? What originally was gonna cost and what change orders and everything else has, we had a cushion, but it's not the same number. And I'm asking point blank, the 3.8 million, if when this gets close to the end and there's all kind of change orders and it costs more than that, who's paying it? That's all I wanna know. I wanna simply know, I don't want somebody coming back from the sewage authority or anywhere else and say, hey, city, we gotta raise, whatever because we're short $700,000 or something like that. That's my answer, that's the question I'm asking you. I want an answer for that.
That was never discussed in its entirety.
Don't you think it
through-
should be discussed?
Well, probably currently, but based upon calculations as presented,
That would be on the city's line usage fee.
I have a fund that's gonna be passed on to the consumer.
So,
That's your answer.
that's not
That's your
acceptable.
answer.
I wanna know what kind of guidelines are gonna be put in place that things don't go off the rails.
That is the city's $27 line usage fee.
But if it comes short somewhere, it's gonna go up, am I correct? Is that what you're implying? That it would go to the line usage fee?
I think it just requires good project management at this point. This project is complex too. That we've got a buried combination system that runs along the west side of Grand Boulevard down the hill. This line has to be separated with a new sanitary system that has to be buried deeper than this line in order to keep the laterals flowing from the residents that live on that street. This is going to be a major impact to the city in that the road is gonna become tightly managed with lots of construction going on. I don't know how that's gonna play out, but there's gonna be a lot of construction on Grand Boulevard coming down from Meridian, during this project. This is just something that the city's got to bear. The alternative is nothing. We can't afford an EQ tank. We can't afford to not do this project. We have no alternatives other than to get this project done expediently and quickly. And
Let me-
on budget too. It's gotta be done tightly. It's just like, our budget with the USDA. We had a total of 19-point-something million that we're winding down on. We just gotta watch it very closely.
I feel confident with the promise and ours in return that we will work together as efficiently and quickly as possible to get this moving, because we have to do something. If we do not turn dirt by September, end of September, correct?
Have spent $750,000.
$750,000
You're gonna lose it.
by the end of September. We're gone. So, with that in mind, that's when the design began quickly, everything moved double time, and we're out here, and that was the reason for, as Mr. Alfonso pointed out, we did have a 20% contingency in the initial borrowing in the first place. And based on the calculations, it appears we're gonna have a substantial amount of funds remaining, based on what, and I'm not gonna disagree with you, there would very well might be a problem along the line. And a lot of times that happens with projects. I guess, imagine that'd be something we'd have to deal with at the time that might happen.
One of the things that,
One question, Mayor, not to
please do.
interrupt. So what you guys put down on paper that it's $3.8 million, the estimated cost right now. There's almost $4.8 million of
right.
funding available. Look, I'm not an engineer, sometimes I play one, but to miss the mark for a sewage line installation project, that would have to be a pretty big swing and a miss.
Yeah, I
correct?
think, to answer the question, it right here, there's a couple steps, I think, that will help mitigate your concern. First of all, with the cost, you're speaking to the cost of the EQ tank. Why did it increase so much? It was over 5 years that occurred. The original estimate was $4 million, it grew to $8 million. That was over 5 years during an unprecedented time when costs escalated through the roof during COVID. We have to design this, and we have to be shovels in the ground in 6 months from now. So unless, something crazy happens in the economy, that pricing should be pretty accurate. But you're gonna have received bids prior to moving forward with the project. If a bid comes in at $5 million, yeah, then we would reject the bids and come up with an alternative. So it's not like you're locked. We're gonna have the opportunity to open bids from a number of contractors and select the lowest qualified bidder. During construction, do change orders occur? They do, and we always suggest that the authority budget 5% for change orders. If for a more straightforward sewer project, we don't anticipate significant change orders. There's a lot more complex projects that the authority takes on. For a sewer separation project like this, change orders should not exceed a 5% budget that we generally recommend.
one of the things that, may help us too is periodic updates from you guys is how the project's going. And I would like to point out that Karen has, offered to be the liaison for council over there, and I think that becomes a very important part, that she can be part of the meetings as a liaison. She understands money, and that's what this is all about.
Let me ask this too. This is a bond finance project, so there's gonna be requisitions that are passed by your board. Can we set up some system that those that are passed along to council too? They're public documents. They could see the pay applications from whatever contractors awarded the contract.
I don't see it not to be an issue after the sign.
Well, Mr. McBride has to have all the payments in, be released through requisition at our meeting, 10 days prior, Jay? I believe that's 7.
Yeah. Well, I would,
I'm talking after,
yeah,
they're approved and
if
everything.
your councilor was attending the meeting, she would see that live in person, and then we'd be happy to pass along copies of the requisition.
Or what I would recommend would be, when you do know what we're gonna place onto the requisition, we could forward that to the city as well, in case they may have issue or question regarding any such payments that will be forthcoming at our regular meeting.
So who has the power over change orders?
The board.
Yeah, the board, just like council.
So Tom and those guys.
I just don't feel comfortable not knowing if this goes over, with nobody's fault, but it goes over.
Change orders will be brought up at a public meeting, and I think if we have a liaison there, there'll be a handle on them.
Yeah, but generally, we've seen is change orders, they happen, they're done, and then they're presented and then they have to get paid for it. There's no, wait a minute, timeout. Before you put another shovel in the ground, what are you doing, and why is it costing more?
We actually do require that, just what you just described.
Yeah, that's the way we handle all change orders at the authority level. We require them to present them ahead of time. They would review, goes through Sean, myself, and that.
Unless it's an emergency, they hit a gas line or hit, something, but if it's like
If it's a
something.
major change order,
Yeah.
it's gotta be approved before it's done.
That's right.
Right, but I don't see anybody really saying no if it's going to hold the whole project up, which you can't, you have a time frame
We
now.
can't determine that.
Well, right now, we're capable of that. But that's an unknown. I can't answer that, Mr. Orchowski, I can't.
I just don't want somebody coming back, whether it's you guys or whatever, coming back to council and saying, oh, guess what? It went over, it's gonna have to come from line usage fee for you to make up the difference or whatever, okay? I have a problem with that.
Well, they have to come back to us and we have to approve it before that happens anyway. Right now, what they're doing is doing it based upon the funds they have available to them and so forth. And to be honest with you, I don't know of any alternative. We came up with the separation project as an alternative to something we couldn't afford. I have every reason to believe our engineer believes that it can be done. Their engineer believes it can be done at this price. I know of no reason why we shouldn't take the advice and do it. And as he points out, they are an authority. They're gonna do it. They've got the money to do it. They've already got an agreement for the $4 million. They are on board with this, and I think that we ought to encourage them and offer every bit of assistance we possibly can.
There are small amendments that we will have to undertake between the city and the authority. Mr. Delphonse and I work with the agreement, because the agreement spoke specifically towards the EQ tank.
Right.
And we've already discussed this, and we're gonna act as quickly as possible, expeditiously as possible. And there was also the bond that we had taken out for the original project. We have to amend some terms and conditions in the OS, and such forth. So that would, him and I know bond counsel very well. We work well together, and we agreed that following this meeting today, that we would place, depending on what you decide to do, of course, we would place a call into the bond counsel and begin the changes necessary to move forward based upon, Wade Trim's design, that with the numbers, the estimated numbers presented to you right now.
So,
Yeah, I wanna jump in on those two issues, right? The bonds are within the Mon Valley Sewage Authority's name, so they will have to probably change some things with that. We have an intergovernmental cooperation agreement, with them that specifies the EQ tank, right? That was passed in 2021, so we will have to make revisions to that because of the separation project. But I wanna add into something for Councilman Orchowski that the mayor brought up. The city engineer did look at this first, provided I don't think it's as detailed of a look at the potential project for an initial estimate. And both numbers are pretty close. So you have two engineering firms that have pretty close numbers on what this project's going to cost.
We've already been working together for the past 6 months,
No,
maybe a little longer than 6 months, to get to the point that we can present this to council and the authority board. The authority board is fine with moving forward with what we're showing to you, and I'm hoping that your board would also approve of it tonight, so that we can begin and not lose any more time than what we've already had lapsed.
so let me ask the solicitors, is there really anything that we have to approve for this to move forward?
We're not going, I mean, this is a work session, not gonna be
Right.
able to vote tonight.
That's your regular meeting.
The regular meeting, maybe we can get the agreement done by then. But I certainly would like to hear the council, opinion on the issue, because the city does, and the authority have to move quickly on this. I mean, look, here's the alternative. The mayor said there's no alternative, but there is. It's not a good one. It's to build an $8 or $9 million EQ tank on Prenny Boulevard, which will 100% cost the city to increase the line usage fund by $4 a month.
$8.
$8 a month.
Close to eight.
There you go.
So, that was the carrot that led us to really look towards a alternative solution.
Get the shovels ready, let's go. That's all I can say.
Okay?
And look, with an EQ tank, right, there's risk for change orders on top of the $9 million estimate,
And then you got inflation too,
so.
keeps going up.
Okay.
Thank you both for coming out here, thank you.
Well, there's one more thing that I think we really need to bring forth too. And this is something that they, brought forth to us on Monday or Tuesday. And that is that it's been a long time since there's been a rate increase on the sewer system. These are their sewer rates that we pay the Mon Valley Sewer System.
Well, I've seen that it's going up, what, $9?
Yeah, this is Chairman, Mr. Steve Walker.
Okay, do you wanna explain to
Hello.
us what's going on with that?
Yeah, first and foremost, my name's Steve Walko, I'm the chairman of the board, and you've met Aaron, Jason, and Sean, the plant manager. We came here this evening to discuss and field any questions for this year's upcoming rate increase. Over the last 3 years since joining the board, I can tell you with the utmost confidence that the board and management and myself have put the customer's financial interest at the forefront of maintaining the operations at the authority. Instead of increasing rates gradually, as industry standards would recommend that you do every year, $1 or $2, whether you have to or not. We chose not to because we had excess of funds through good management of Sean with revenue and bond monies on hand and favorable interest rates that we were able to generate another revenue stream of income, and we didn't have to pass on the cost to our ratepayers. So we chose to do that. We were able to do so, like I said, largely in part because of Sean, investments made. The interest rates were very beneficial, and unfortunately, it's not going to be sustainable with the interest rates dropping. Furthermore, we are using a lot of the cash on hand to start and complete upcoming projects that are mandated by the DEP and our long-term control plan. There have been many factors that have came into play that have caused the rate increase besides the falling interest rates. Our Denora EQ tank, for example, we're talking about your EQ tank. Our EQ tank was estimated to be approximately $8.5 million, and it came back at 12.4. So we had to take out another, bond to pay for that, and we ate the cost of that last year. All the economic factors that everybody's mentioning, COVID, rising in construction costs, thank you, sir. We all face that, not just the authority, but everyday citizens, ratepayers, taxpayers here in Monessen and in Denora and in the Mon Valley and across the country. As a business owner myself in my industry, when a fryer or a cooler goes down, you're talking $2,000. In their industry, in the wastewater treatment, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, or a specific example, over $1 million. We have 3 blowers, which are an integral part of our operation. 2 of the blowers are used mainly. We rotate high flow days, or if one needs service, we kick in the other one, and we have a third one for reserve for emergencies. Well, this year, we had a catastrophic failure with all 3 of them. And all 3 of the blowers going down, we have to replace them, and the cost is over $1 million. And $1 million is a lot of money, but I assure you that was the cheapest option out of everything that our engineering firm presented to us. Our rate is going to go from $51 a month to $60.65 per month, which is an increase of $9.65 a month. From 2011 until now, the rate has gone up a total of $30, including this upcoming increase. That's a $2 per year average increase, and per the industry standards of the annual sewage rates rising 3 to 6% annually, we have fell under that threshold the last decade and a half, mainly due to good management of assets and investments, and using alternative mechanisms from Mr. Bylon here to collect delinquent accounts. I would also like you guys to consider in the last 12 years that we have spent close to $50 million to adhere to our long-term control plan to comply with the Clean Water Act requirements. This long-term control plan intends to reduce overflow discharge to the Monongahela River by 110 million gallons per year. Also, to keep in mind, the national average for sewer bills in America is anywhere from $60 to $90 a month. During budget meetings, Sean and myself and Mr. Wentz, we looked at other local municipalities to see where we were within industry standards and what the appropriate action was to take. Our base rate of $60.65 has a usage allowance of 8,000 gallons per quarter, meaning that Your base rate of $60.65 will cover 8,000 gallons of water per quarter, and before we bill you per 1,000 gallons after that. We are one of the only authorities, there's very few that have usage allowances locally, and the one that we looked at, we were higher than them, and then the other authority, we were lower than them by $1,000, which puts us right in the middle of the industry standards. A lot of authorities have done away with their usage allowance, where they charge you a base rate of $55, and then they bill you per 1,000 gallons, whether it be $7.75 per residential, and I've seen as high as $15 for commercial. After looking at all these billing formats compared to our current customer average consumption, we feel we're in line with all other authorities based on the size of our operation and the expansive projects that we're required to complete. We understand that our base rate is not all that's on your bill. Furthermore, you guys are paying a line usage fee here in the city of Monessen and in the borough of Donora, in addition to our bill. These fees are being collected by the authority and redistributed to the borough of Donora for their sewer line maintenance fee to repair and replace the aging infrastructure in Donora. And the same here with the city of Monessen, but on top of your sewer line fee, we are also paying for a project that we obtained funding for the city of Monessen for that project to be completed. And that's why we came here tonight, in case anybody had any questions. Feel free to ask Sean or myself, and we would gladly answer them if we can, to help you have a better understanding of how the wastewater treatment plant operates, and the exceedingly high cost it takes to maintain them. Our monthly meetings are at the Sewage Authority the second Monday of every month at 4:30 p.m. And the last 3 years that I've been on the board, I've not seen many people there at all. I've had no understanding of wastewater sewage treatment prior to taking the position, but I wanted to see what the fuss was about and why so many people wanted this position, and I got a taste of that very quickly. And with the guys in place here, Sean, Mr. Bylon, Carter, and Jason, they are the right people for the job. I tell you that they put the customer and the ratepayer at the forefront of every meeting. And raising rates is not something that we want to do. We are a nonprofit entity. We are not looking to make any money. If we have to raise rates, it's because the cost of doing business is going up. In my industry, when the cost of doing business goes up, if food costs go up, I relay those costs to my customer because I'm trying to turn a profit. We're just trying to maintain operations here. We're not looking to make any money off of the ratepayers. Wastewater industry is very, very expensive. And like I said, the blowers going down for $1 million is a prime example of that. When something breaks, it is very, very expensive. And if you guys have any questions, that's why we're here tonight in front of you. And if you ever need anything, Sean does a great job. He's available anytime. Email him, call him, come to the meetings. Like I said, I've not seen anybody there in 3 years. A few customers here and there that had issues where the water was running nonstop. And we take care of everything that we can. We put the customers and the ratepayers first. We are linked together. Everything that we do impacts your ratepayers. It impacts Denora's ratepayers. I have 3 accounts myself. I don't want to pay extra money, but we have to be realistic. Everything's going up. Gas, electric, Comcast, like every aspect. Everybody has their hands in our pockets at all times. And I feel personally that they do the best that they can to maintain the operations at minimal cost to the ratepayers, especially looking at some operations around here and what they're charging monthly. So if you guys have any questions, that's what we're here for, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Just real quick, just to make notes so everybody's aware, that the deficit was originally over $1 million, which would have taken the rate increase to $15 a month. The board has opted to use $366,000 to lower that fee down to $9.65. So the rate increase could have been $15.
And this is.
We opted to use some more of our money.
This is just the sewage, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
this is-
just
Well-
the sewage.
And on top of that, I understand the water's going up
I can't speak for the
$9
water
or $10.
authority.
Yeah,
Can't speak for the water
So now
authority.
we're talking $20 or $30 a month for everybody to try to take.
Well, we're not linked with the water authority.
Yeah, but but the water's linked to how much water you use is how much
Your
sewage you
usage.
get paid.
Yeah, your usage.
All we do is use their usage,
Yeah,
their
we use
readings.
their-
We have
their
no,
usage. Their rates have nothing to
their
do with
rates
our
have
rates.
nothing to do with our rates.
Right, but I'm looking at it overall.
Yeah, overall, obviously, yes.
To the citizens of Monessen, the rates are gonna go up substantially,
If it's
we're
a water,
talking
you
20
wanna
bucks.
direct that to ABC.
So just
Yeah.
for your knowledge, the city of Monessen's minimum fee with your $27 will be $87.65 a month. That'll be your minimum bill.
Under the 8,000 gallons
Yes,
per quarter.
yes.
Okay?
And it all starts with, like,
And,
over 50% of our customers use over the minimum. I mean, it's practices of water conservation
and
Right.
that people need to start to realize.
what's the percentage rate?
It'd be $87.65 a month, are you saying?
That's the
Yes.
minimum,
But you only can use 8,000.
You can use
in a quarter.
8,000 and a quarter. The usage is not changing, just the rate.
Okay, but they're gonna bill you for 8,000 period, whether you use it or not?
Whether you use the
Yes.
minimum, you get the, yes.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, because I'm not home 10 hours a day.
Mhm.
So I
The
can't
minimum
use
bill
8,000
is the minimum
gallons
bill.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you go over it,
A month.
if anybody goes over it, it is gonna be $22.74 a gallon.
See, so I don't understand how that's priced, really, truly. You're priced at 8,000 whether you use it or not.
It's a minimum, your
That's the minimum bill.
But
We're,
for
no, we're not
people
pricing
who
you,
use less than
no,
that,
we're giving you a cushion of 2,600 and whatever the math is, and you take 8 and divide it by the quarter. So you're getting a cushion, we're allowing you to use that without charging you an additional fee for it. Other municipalities, they don't have a
but the
usage
$8
allowance.
a month that you're saying is coming off of that 8,000 gallons,
I'm
whatever
gonna
you're
make
allowed to
it,
use.
to Mon Valley Sewage Authority, it's $60.65.
Yes, that's our rate, that's our rate, $60 and
I'm talking
60.
about our rate.
Well, that the $60.
$27 has nothing to do with Mon Valley Sewage, it does and it don't. Mon Valley Sewage's rate is $60.
And the additional fee is the line maintenance fee
Yes.
for the borough, or city of Monessen.
And the borough of Lenore has one also.
But they're cheaper because you're paying
Mhm.
for it.
No,
That's what they said.
Well, they're
That's what they
incorrect,
said.
they're incorrect, ma'am. The reason that you're paying more is because the city of Monessen came to us and we had to get funding for them for a project in addition to your line maintenance fee. So we got a bond for the city of Monessen, so in order to pay that bond off, we were collecting money to pay the bond off for that project.
Okay, are you doing the pricing per household or per population?
Rates are based off of EDUs between the two communities of Lenore and Monessen, equally. Equally.
How can they be equal? Where there's a different population completely in size.
Based on household. Each household pays.
Each household pays equal amounts.
And what's the percentage of delinquent payments to your authority?
Delinquent payments?
Yeah.
Are out of control.
Okay,
Right now, I got 125 shut-offs sitting for Monessen right now, because they haven't paid their bill.
okay.
We posted over 350 homes for not paying their bill.
Across the street from my
And
Yeah,
then
but
you're
that's-
gonna expect it to go higher because the rate is going up higher. So you may end up posting everybody will pay in Monessen.
Yes, ma'am.
But I mean, a lot of municipalities, from the information, I mean, I'm a real big numbers guy. I don't wanna raise rates, cause I have 3 accounts, that means I'm gonna pay an extra $30-40 a month myself. But, I don't wanna name specific names, but $75 is the base rate that I've seen, a couple miles up the road. Couple miles the other way, they're charging $56, but the caveat to that is, you don't get no water consumption allowance.
Okay, I got a question, but how do you know how much water you use in between that 8,000?
We buy water reads off the water company every month. Your sewage bill is based off of water reads that we obtain from the authority of Borough of Charleroi.
Yeah, so whatever water runs through your meter is what.
Whatever water goes through your meter is what you are billed for.
Yeah.
Can we move
Any,
on?
any,
Hmm?
any anomalies that
Yeah, is there anybody else that has any other questions concerning this?
So if you use 1,000 gallons, you're paying whatever. If you spend 8,000 gallons, you're still paying the same rate. Why isn't
What do they
it
have?
prorated? They're electronic today when they do the meters. They don't have meter readers right now.
We eliminated the EQ tank. There will be no more EQ tank.
That's 112.
That's what's been done, yeah.
No, I mean, that's what it is now, so it's.
All right, let's try to move on a little bit.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Look forward to some reports along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Like I said, reach out to Sean if you have any questions about anything ever. Thank you.
Do you wanna leave a couple of them? What do you wanna do? Come on. You want any of these copies, Mr. Mayor?
Leave any of these copies?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you guys again. Have a good evening.
So let's try to move on. We had a short agenda. This was kind of drug it out a little bit. I don't want to take too much more time, but there's a few things that have taken place over the last couple of weeks that are very important. One of which is our TAN note. We received an agenda from CFS Bank for closing out the TAN note. That's a very positive thing. There's a few pieces of information that we need to provide for them, but all indications are that we should have access to the funds very, very shortly. Another thing that I did is I requested from 911 services a report on how well our EMS department is doing. And they gave me back all the detail, 800 pages of detail. This is calls, response times, blah, 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 blah. Now, I did send a message to them to see if they could compile that into a report that was simple that we could boil down. But I also gave it to my AI engine, and I said, can you evaluate this 800 pages of data and tell me what you think? And it did. Now, I'm not going to place any emphasis on this other than this is just one viewpoint of it. It may be that Nicole Chu of 911 Services comes back with something entirely different. But what it said was total EMS incidents originating in Monessen was 97. This is for a period between July and December of 2025, so 6 months. The incidents that Mon Valley EMS took care of was 95 out of 97. That says that they only missed two that they did not take care of at all. That's 97.9% of all the calls were handled by Mon Valley EMS. Now, if you recall, several months ago, this number was down below 80%, and I formed a committee to see if they could work with the Mon Valley EMS to get this up above 90%. Well, if these numbers are correct, and I will wait till I see the numbers from Nicole Chu before I place a lot of emphasis on it, the numbers right now are very positive, that they are doing an extremely good job. They've invested heavily in people, they've invested heavily in equipment, and it seems to be paying off. So, that said, I'm not going to spend a lot more time on that. The next thing I want to talk about is the LERTA project. The LERTA project is something that, if you look at the city, the last 4 years has been really concentrating on demolishing old properties, blighted properties, and getting the sewer project done. And in the course of that, we've got that project really rocking and rolling on its own right now. In other words, I don't have to spend all my time working on that anymore. So hence, economic development is where the focus is. And this is only one of many tools that we're looking at, but I'd like for our solicitor to explain what a LERTA project is and what we're trying to accomplish with it.
You've done a pretty good job explaining what it is. It is a program where there is tax exemption on new buildings, meaning you have a piece of property that's assessed at $20,000. You build a $100,000 home on that property, $200,000 business, what have you. The exemption would be on the assessment of the improvement for a period of time. What the mayor is proposing is a 10-year project. And well, there's really no harm here, right? Because with a vacant property, or a dilapidated property even, you're getting no tax income. It's vacant, nobody's paying anything, right? If you have somebody who puts a building in, it's gonna improve the value. They have incentive to do that because they're gonna be getting some tax forgiveness over a period of time. What the mayor is proposing, what I've seen elsewhere in other communities, is a 10-year part of the plan. The first 5 years, any improvements, any structures that are repaired, remediated, would be tax exempt for the first 5 years. Thereafter, year 6, they would pay 80% of, or 20% of the total taxes. It would increase 20% till it's 100% in year 10. The goal, the objective behind it is to bring people in, to build something, to improve something, because there's an incentive. I'm getting to that. The first step is to obviously draft an ordinance. I think at that point, the city's going to have to work with the school district to see what their ideas are on the plan. Because if the city's just the only one that's going to be forgiving taxes, it's not gonna work, because the taxes are cheaper for the city than they are for the school district. There would be a bigger impact. There also will have to be a public hearing, because the city will have to define what the LERTA zone is. What the mayor is proposing is the entirety of the city. Really, it's based on blight and things of that nature. But a lot of the city, if you look at the demo projects that are happening, it's almost happening citywide. So I think the next step is putting the ordinance together. I'm currently working on that. The mayor and members of council will have to go to the school district and pitch their idea, to see what their feelings are. It doesn't make sense to go through the public hearing process before getting some buy-in from the school district.
Just exactly that.
And
As soon as we get the ordinance passed, I will take it to the to the school board. Solicitor will accompany me, and we will present it to them.
the ordinance will be ready for February's work session. The council's not going to act on the ordinance until they have a public hearing, but it'll be in a form that you can go have discussions with the school district. But I wanna remind everybody, this is the first time that this administration has worked cooperatively with the school district. I'm forgetting the term. We had the
Tax exoneration board?
tax exoneration board, where people were buying houses, asking for tax forgiveness.
They got a $1.8 million improvement bill.
I'm not talking about that. But there was the tax forgiveness board that people have gone through, improved homes, asked for tax forgiveness for acquiring those homes, and it's worked for the people that have applied for it. So.
Thank you. There are other forms of income that come in when you get development going on as well. Development means that you have people employed, either to build the building or to shop in the store that was just built. That requires employees. The city gets employment income from taxes as well. So that, in fact, is very important, because and I've made this description many times, the city's been on a sliding decline of population, 1.5% for the last 50 years. And it used to be close to 30,000 people, now we're less than 6,000 people. There's a big difference. About 10, 15 years ago, the city council here started raising their tax rate. They got up to 44.33%, or mills, and they hit a ceiling. Now, we've held that for several years now, the entirety of my administration, a couple of years before that. It's been a flat line going across there. Well, this flat line has intercepted with the decline in population. And an interesting thing happened. Inflation came along and affected everybody's paycheck. People started making more money. When they started making more money, it curved up a little bit. And rather than crossing the line and us being belly up, it crossed the line and started going up very slightly. The point being is, that's the money that we're really hopeful for through the LERTA project. 5 years is longer than anybody up here will be on this council. Now, they may run for re-election, may not, but you know, I'm the last one that was elected here, along with a couple others, for 4 years. We're not gonna see any benefit from the tax revenue until year 6. That's 2 years after we're gone. The point being is, I'm not looking for a short-term fix because there exists nothing. We didn't get in this boat because of action along the way. It took years for us to get in the position we're at right now, and it's gonna take years for development to come along and go forward. It's a 5-year program. I wanna make it available for 2 years. And we'll see how it flies after 2 years. For 2 years, there'll be an application period. Once we open this program up, that for 2 years, people will be able to apply for the LERTA project, submit their business, their development plans, their architecture drawings or whatever, get their building permits, all that goes on in the first 2 years, and they will have 5 years from that point forward going forward. So anyway, that's something that's a long-term tool that can be used for the city. It's something I'm very much an advocate for, and I think that explains it pretty well. I've beat this to death many times. The next thing on here is a discussion about a contract with the services for Supernova Services provided within the city of Monessen. I know that our solicitor has worked with putting together a contract that was agreeable to everybody.
I made revisions to the contract they sent over.
Okay, and are we waiting for them to now sign it, or are we in a position that we can move it forward?
I guess there's a question on whether council, initially approved this or not.
Council hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's in the packet.
So this will be something that we're gonna be talking more about and voting on at the end of the month. This has a lot to do with the strategic plan that I think we all share with the asphalt zipper. It has to do with the money that we're doing with the county LSA, with the roller, the trailer, the repair of the roads, all these different things. In order for those to be successful projects, we gotta have manpower to do it. Now, I've been working with Rodney and Delmar, and the contract apparently now says that they can use contract labor as required for mowing lawns. So this may be something that we can use some of these people with the guidance that we have from our Parks Department to take care of some of the parks and so forth that we have, whether it's just picking up garbage or operating equipment, I don't know, but those are things that will be hashed out. But it's a labor pool that costs the city very little to accomplish, as opposed to doing something else.
My recommendation is you work with your union, to what tasks these individuals will be doing.
Absolutely, and I've started those discussions already. Okay. So, if people have noticed, on the east end of Schoonmaker, over there by Eastgate, Keystone Bakery, and so forth, there was an accident on the side of the road that took out one of the power poles. One of the power poles had lights on the top of it. When it took that out, it knocked out lights on that entire side of the road. What's worse is it knocked out lights on the other side of the road too. So now we have a block or two on the other side of the gas station over there that has no lights on Schoonmaker whatsoever. We had discussions with West Penn Power. It turns out that they have signed an agreement with the city long before we were around that basically said that we were responsible for the poles and we were responsible for paying the electric bill. They were responsible for maintaining the light bulbs themselves should anything happen. Well, taking out a complete pole, they say, is on us. It's not on them. And we've been through this. They showed us contracts. They showed us whatever that were signed by the city. We got a problem. It turns out that Safe Streets for All has potential for applying for money to get this repaired. And I think that's really what we needed to discuss is, do we want to spend the time and energy to try to find grants to fix this problem, or does somebody have better ideas? So it fell out of a storm. It fell out of a storm, I do believe. And well, I was probably wrong. It was a storm. Yeah, I know. And sometimes I get crisscrossed in my own head. But I do believe
Didn't this pole have, lines on it?
it was underground.
So it's not a power pole.
So it's not a power pole.
Well, it provides power to the other lights. It's daisy chained together.
So there's power on the pole then?
There's power underground that they shut off when this pole collapsed and there was live lines buried that were shorted out. They shut the power off. That shut the power off on lights on both sides of the road.
So but I think what, Tony, you're asking, are there electric transmission lines?
On the pole?
No. No. All the utilities are underground over there. There are no overhead power lines.
I'd say apply for a grant if feasible. Because that whole area is dark and it's starting to become dark on the west side of Monessen now on Donner.
The other thing we can do is,
There's a pole too that's leaning by the old magistrate's office, by the post office.
yeah,
There's a pole, just,
that's an entirely different area.
I know I get that, but I'm just.
Yeah. I also noticed there's a lot of lights on the bottom of 3rd Street that are not working, which is something that maybe our police chief can have some of the officers tag those and get those, notify West Penn that they need to be repaired.
We send West Penn power notification weekly, Dean does it weekly.
Okay. If you get the numbers, the numbers that she gets when she applies for that, if you don't get reasonable action, I've been told that we can go to our liaison officer with that information and force that to occur a little quicker. Yeah, well, get me the record that the job ticket that they assigned, and I can get that escalated. At least I'm told I can get it escalated. We'll find out.
Chief, months ago I had asked about the lights down at the boat launch. Do you know if those were ever repaired? Because somebody had brought them to my attention. It's been months. They are?
They are not.
They are not?
No.
Oh, it's another one.
Last time we was down there was, I think, maybe 2 work.
Maybe if you could ask Deneen to prepare a list of all the job numbers that were, and the dates when these were sent in, I will contact our liaison and see if they can apply some pressure to get this done.
Yeah, that's been months.
Cause going on Rostraver into McKee, that's dark. The bridge is starting to get dark, there's a light off there, it's been there forever, it's dark on the divide lock.
Yeah, we need to keep our little bit of pressure on West Penn to get these things corrected, because we do have a lot of lights that are out right now. Any other thing? Anybody want to say anything else about this? Let's move on. I'm going to let Mike explain this next one, because I'm confused too.
I think what we're trying to do here is clarify the policy that we have currently in effect for applicants to boards and commissions, which says that in addition to the request for appointment to these, we would like to have a cover letter and resume supplied to City Hall. Now, we had talked, Mayor, about because we were having difficulty filling some of these positions to maybe lessening the standards somewhat. But I think we should do it in a uniform fashion to say, what do we want here? Do we want to continue with this policy, which is on the application? Or do we want to make some changes to it to make it a little more lenient for folks to apply maybe just a letter of interest?
Right now, we have a lot of boards and authorities that are really shy of people. I'm quite happy with just a letter of interest, and then we can individually, if necessary, talk to those people and understand what they're trying to accomplish before they're appointed. I don't know what everybody else feels.
I have a comment.
Okay?
I'm just thinking, 'cause I come from an educational background, if somebody is not willing to take the time to fill this out, we expect that they get on a board or authority, they're actually gonna show up and work hard. So if they can't take 10 minutes to fill this out, I'd be doubtful if they're gonna be willing to go to those meetings and actually put the time in.
Good
I think
point.
lowering standards, I'm not in favor of. I see this as a lot, but this is 10 minutes of work.
Okay?
This is 10 minutes of work. Anybody should be able to do this. You see whether a person's literate or not if they fill this in.
Is that available on the internet where people can?
I thought
do
it
that?
was.
It is.
And I've never seen anybody fill this out since, for any board or authority they applied for. And I would like to.
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
I wanna stress that we need more applicants, we need
We
more
do.
people involved.
But
And
again,
if you're involved, download it from the internet and,
yeah, and take
fill
10
it-
minutes, fill it out, because if they aren't willing to do this, how interested are they gonna do the job? I understand you want a person on these boards, but they have to be more than just taking a seat on a board. They have to be willing to work
and show up.
and show up every day, every meeting. But that's just my thoughts.
Okay.
But I'm not unusual. There's other people out there. We
Okay.
can find them.
What are we talking about here?
Is there an
Three
application
different-
for boards and application for
No, wait.
employment? There's different
They're
issues.
different, there's different applications here, and not one of them that I'm looking at right now
There's
asks
two,
for a resume.
there's two there's one for employment application within the city, and then there's a second one for board and commission.
Right,
Okay,
But-
here's the board and commission last page, which says, please forward this request for appointment along with a cover letter and resume to Monessen City Hall, 575 Donner Avenue, Monessen. If that's the policy, Councilman, I'd say let's continue, or if you want to tweak it or change it, I think that's your purview. But just so it's uniform with everyone.
What page, Mike?
where did this come out at 12/12/24? Just like this
This
just
is-
showed up.
This is on the internet, this is on the website,
City website.
city website.
And there's conflicting instructions on here too. At the top
Yeah.
it says include a cover letter with the application, then after the signature it says cover letter and resume.
Yes. So that's what we wanted, and I wanted to clarify with council, and you as solicitor.
But
Go
council has never asked for a resume. Never.
I always just took we take a resume when we're hiring people, but for folks that went on boards, past practice was
Right.
just turning in a letter of interest and why you felt you should be on this board, pretty much.
But we do,
we do.
we do, it's listed, no,
This is confusing as hell.
I know that,
Well, I don't think.
Yep. wanna clarify all of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the application for employment should be the same. I don't know why that's brought up. It should just be how it is.
It's the same as the form that we have.
Yeah, it's the same, yeah, okay.
They are.
Yes,
They
it
are. I
is.
think you're getting confused. Can
It
you
is.
please let us finish our conversation? Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was stating, I think the application for employment should be the same. I
Okay.
don't know why that's brought up, so as is. Now, for boards, I get where Karen's saying, if you don't have time to fill out the board information, then why be on a board?
I don't think that's the question.
Yeah, I get it, but
I think that when the situation came up, it was whether someone had to fill out a resume, submit it or not.
And we have a document that says they should, so I wanted to clarify that, Councilman Chakowski, to say what the policy would be. And if it's more lenient or there's a different policy, I think we should have council make that decision. Then it's uniform for all and we make sure, and I think we should start stressing, if we're gonna ask for a resume, you have to submit one. If not, as Councilman Nestor said,
I'd say just off paper of intent.
That's all.
Like that
I mean, just
part.
an email that even says, I'd like to be on such and such a board. That's good enough for me. I mean, the point of the matter is, the mayor even made that comment at a couple meetings ago saying, if you know anybody, just have them ask to
Yeah.
say they wanna be on a board. Now we can't have this floating out there that
Well, it's,
doesn't make.
this has been on the internet for months and months. So if we wanna change that, to just say, please submit.
Well, I mean, I think we haven't really been following that practice, not to pick on, like, Mr. McGee back there, I think he just sent an email and we just
Right.
said, okay,
Yeah.
and that's
As
it,
did my wife.
you know? So,
We've been inconsistent.
exactly.
But I'm just looking at this, really, this has everything on it a resume would have on it,
Yeah.
all the information. But I just noticed it said if you're on the library board, if you're applying, you should have clearances.
Same
Yeah,
for
you
the,
need-
We have it
rec-
for the rec board,
yeah,
yes.
because
Yeah,
you're
rec
around,
board, of course.
you're around kids.
Right,
Yeah, well, the library boards are really not,
yeah.
not around kids, just go to the meetings.
Some jobs you're mandated to have clearances, I don't know if the library.
Oh, the library, if you work there. 'Cause kids
Well,
don't get it.
this is just a discussion. Do you wanna submit
I don't think we can do anything, just get rid of, this is how we're doing it. I don't think we need to vote on it next meeting or a motion or anything else. It's a policy. That's all. Let's not complicate this thing.
So the policy is a letter of interest
That's it.
suffices?
That's it.
And if they're working with children, they need to have
That's
their
different.
clearances.
That's totally different,
What are
correct.
we gonna do about that?
Well, we have to go back and, so. We change this document and remove it from the internet and just say letters of interest will suffice, and then also
Well, we're
continue
defining
to-
policy. I mean,
yeah.
I would think that needs to be voted on if we
I-
make a change.
I agree, it should be on an agenda for a final vote for council.
Uh-huh.
Real simple, motion to
Fix-
implement the procedure of letters of interest for all open,
Okay.
authorities and boards.
Or what?
Well, maybe clearer that way if we just do that. That way
Okay.
it's clear and clear cut.
Perfect.
Okay.
Let's move on. It's now Tony's time to pay some bills, at long last.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $60,024.87.
Second.
Is there a second? There's a second. Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the rec account in the amount of $1,034.56.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the line usage fund in the amount of $2,300.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the parks fund in the amount of $1,442.87.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yep.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the liquid fuels account in the amount of $3,473.43.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes.
Mosher?
Motion to approve the transfer of $76,267.43 from the general fund to the payroll account for payroll.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
yes,
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to approve sewage rehabilitation project phase 3 and payment requisition and certificate number 39 in the amount of $657,970.64 for phase 3 work performed by WC Engineers from November 29th, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $64,660.90. Also including is one invoice from Insight Pipe Contracting LLC for work performed during November 19th, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $150,203.81, and one invoice from MCSP for the work performed during December 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $443,105.93.
All that totals to $657,970.64. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
And here are the following balances as of today. Debt service is $521,745.98. Fire escrow is $95,282.09. General fund has $319,469.14. Grant fund has $215,458.95. Healthcare fund has $4,019.85. Line usage is $720,066.44. Liquid fuels has $1,526.57. Parks fund has $84,184.93. Paving escrow is $177,362.95. Payroll has $30,389.23. Rec fund has $648.06. And the refuse has $161,070.16. And Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. I think, before we adjourn, I wanna talk a little bit about some of the things going on with the, USDA project too, but let's continue. I'll wait till later. Do you have the, report for Lois?
No.
No, we do not.
End the
We
month,
do the-
okay.
The second meeting of the
All right.
month.
John, do you have anything you would like to talk about?
Thank you, Mayor.
Chief of
Staff, citizens of Monessen, I will go ahead and defer my report until our next stated meeting.
Okay, Karen?
I don't have a report, but I would just like to reiterate that, whenever the city crew goes out and they start salting, they salt the roads, they take care of bus routes and hills first, then secondary and flats and alleys last. And we are down a few trucks, so I'm just hoping if we have another storm, if people are patient, because I think the guys have done a great job keeping our streets clean. That's all I have.
Thank you. The only thing I really wanna talk about is, we've been, working very diligently with Cliffs in order to get all of our lines across the railroad tracks and to the river, lined and taken care of. And there's one line that comes down, Fifth Street, just right here, that goes across the railroad tracks, goes across the, parking lot, ends up going right underneath the battery and to the river. This tunnel is 36 inches in diameter. It's a brick-laid line. It's in reasonably good shape, but it does need to be lined if we expect to see this survive another 100 years. The point being is, we've had the contractor go through this line trying to locate where a manhole is. And he's made this trip not once, not twice, but 6 times. He's crawled through this line several thousand feet on a 36-inch pipe, not enough money in the world to pay me to go down this line. And he's been looking for this manhole access that goes up to the surface that's been overplowed. Well, this Monday, they finally found where it is, and it's literally 1 foot below the surface of the ground. They drilled a hole and they started banging on the metal plate that was on the manhole, and the guy was screaming, "Let me out of here! It's too noisy. You're banging on my head." You know, it's just that way. So now we know where this is, and Monday they will have a contractor go out there and expose this metal plate. They will either remove the metal plate or they'll cut a hole in the metal plate that a person can go down into. Tuesday, we're having a meeting with the contractor. The contractor's getting a little bit shaky on whether he wants to do this line or not at all. And that's kind of a major, he's contracted to do this. We have lots of discussions to go with that. But that said, success at last. We know where this manhole is. We know how to do it from this point forward. So that was the one big thing that we were really looking for, and we accomplished that on Monday of this week. With that, could I have a motion for adjournment?
Not yet.
Okay,
Got a couple questions.
okay.
Yeah, I know. I seen it too. what is the status on, the LSA that we were awarded and the other, CEAP? I think that was what it was for, another 2 police cars.
Can you answer that?
The CEAP contracts are in, the mayor returned those. The LSA 1 contract has just been put in, the others are not in yet. So I can give you an update as those continue to, but they are approved and in contractual form.
Do we have any, idea when this money will actually become available?
We're hoping in the next couple of weeks,
Well-
especially the CEAP money.
Well, the one LSA for the, asphalt machine,
Mm-hmm.
is that contract in?
That, I do not believe is in yet, Joe.
And the reason
would
I'm
say- yeah.
asking is I know there's a vendor where you got the initial estimates from,
Mhm.
Looks a little different than some other projects, it might be proprietary. So I wanna take a look at the purchasing language of that
Okay.
contract. Because this, I know the entity where it came from is not a CoStar's vendor,
Right,
so I wanna make sure we follow the procurement methods that LSA requires.
okay.
And my second question is, Karen brought up a good point about the trucks. My question is, and I haven't heard anything, and I'd like an update. Last time I checked, truck 5 went to C. Harper's because it had power steering issues.
I will check and find out what the status of that is.
Okay, was it a separate truck that had the damage? Was that truck, that wasn't truck 5, that was a different truck? And is that out of service and we have 2 trucks down? Or what's going on?
We have 2 trucks down right
Two
now.
trucks down right now.
So we only have 3 trucks going in case it snows?
That's correct.
It would be nice for council to know that. Because up to this moment right now, I was only guessing and bringing it up, but didn't have a clue.
Sorry.
So, what's the game plan?
Well, hopefully we find out something back from C. Harper on the one truck that we can afford to get that one fixed. As far as the, one that was in the accident, we need to have it fully inspected and make sure that it's safe. Apparently, when, somebody was driving it here recently, they said his rear end's making a lot of noise and didn't feel good about it. They wanted it parked. But we need to get that. And that, insurance was applied for that. We should get the insurance
Mhm.
payment for that. We can get it fixed.
Is insurance covering that, or we have a deductible?
There's a deductible, but there is insurance on it as well.
So what's the cost?
We don't know yet.
Is our insurance is covering it?
Our insurance is covering it, yes. I don't remember what the deductible was, less than I thought.
I thought it was 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, 2,500 deductible on it.
Okay, but I'm saying we need to be brought up to speed on all this stuff as it happens.
Yeah, best we
Because-
can.
Because when it snows or something else goes on and the guys are out there busting their butt trying to do what they do, and people go outside at 6 o'clock in the morning and their street is totally an inch or 2 of snow and nobody's got it yet, they need to better understand if they call us to say, hey, nobody's plowing my street. Oh, well, we're doing the best we can. We have 2 trucks down. We're trying to get repaired. We have an answer for that.
Yep.
We don't have an answer going, I don't have a clue. That's not acceptable.
Nobody said we don't have a clue. I just say we don't have any answers right now.
Well, that to me means I don't have a clue, because I don't have an answer right now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, Thursday, January 8th at 7:56 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.